Everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 8, Episode 3, DJI Mavic 4 Pro coming soon. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. We're going to talk about the weather here in a minute, but we got a full house. Drone shots. Jody's here. Joe's here. Let's see who. Alcaracho. Johnny's here. Let's see who else we got. Waypoint New England. Welcome. Good to see you. Let's see who else. Jim Anderson. Welcome, Jim. Let's see who else we got. Dr. Ted is in the house. Michael Wright is here. Captain Ray is here. Okay. We got a full house here. And Richard's here. Welcome. All right. Snow in Florida. Okay. Snow in Florida. All right. No, that never happens. We can't have that happen in the state of Florida. Well, I'm about to show you. Yeah, here it is. Apparently, I think this is near, from my understanding, I think this is near Pensacola in that area. I also saw pictures of the beach up in Pensacola that had, instead of sand, snow. So, yes, welcome to the state of Florida. All right, yeah, it's for real. One of the things I wanted to comment on, okay, I'll greet everybody here in a second, but I wanted to comment on, I know a number of you are friends with me, and I've gotten some answers back whenever I post things about the weather down here. A couple things, understand something, okay? When you guys are up, I've lived up north all my life until 2011 when I met my beautiful wife and moved down to Florida. So I know what winter's like. I fully know what wind chills are like. I fully know below zero temperatures. I know the drill. Been there, done that way too many times. All right. When you move down to an area and you live here for a while, your body adjusts and gets acclimated to it. So when it gets chilly down here, it gets really chilly because what happens is in the state of Florida, there's always moisture in the air. It's always humid. So when the air temperature, say, would be 50 degrees, it doesn't feel like 50. It feels like 40 degrees. That's one of the things I learned early on after I moved down here. So you really need to subtract 10. Now up north, all right, normally our temperatures right now, maybe mid 60s is normal for this time of year, okay? We're 20 degrees colder than that. So yeah, it is colder, and yeah, I'm not whining. I'm just telling you what it is. And it's cold down here. It really, really is cold down here. So, yeah. KC Crime Fighter, welcome. Good to see you tonight. Jeff, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by tonight. So, yeah, it's cold down here. I don't know if you guys saw Johnny. He posted pictures. He's got snow today. So, yeah, it's for real today, baby. Tomorrow morning, it's probably going to be in the low 40s, maybe hit the 30s here. The last time I looked on record, I think it was back in 1977, if I'm not mistaken, when we actually had snow in the Tampa area. And Valerie said she remembered that, and they made a snowball and put it in the freezer and kind of condensed down and stuff. They got it like a year later. It was part of it was still there, but still. But yeah, that's how rare that is down here, because a lot of the time you can get the cold, but you don't have enough moisture. Yeah, I know I just said there's always moisture in the air. There has to be, atmosphere has to be really saturated with it in order to get snow, meteorology speak. So there we are. All right, there we are. Mario, hey. All right. So yeah, that was very interesting. Got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to end things up with a Mavic 4 Pro. There's more news on that and updates on that. Also going to do a comparison of the Neo and the Flip, so kind of stay tuned for that. I'm sure. Oh, wow, Droney. Wow. Yeah, I trust me when I tell you I don't miss that. And boy, oh boy, we went up north. One of our trips up north, and Valerie was with me. We got her a winter coat, which really helped. But one of these visits, it was like 19 out, and I haven't heard the end of that since. Okay, so she said, I didn't come up here for it to be 19 degrees. I said, I didn't order it for you, so that's kind of the way things are as far as that's concerned. So, All right. Well, okay. Actually got a lot to talk about here tonight. The first thing I wanted to share was, will the TikTok ban reversal mean anything for DJI's potential ban? This was an article out on Drone DJ, and again, everything is out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group here. I didn't have a chance to get it on the page. And it talked about what the differences are between the bans, and TikTok and social media as a whole has begun to play a large role in politics in recent years, and now being considered to be the most opportune way to win elections in the future. While critics claim TikTok and other sites are one of the reasons Trump lost re-election in 2020, it's now being claimed to be the reason why he returned to the White House. Okay, well, alongside all that, talking about voters here, just have to wait and see if there's any attempts to challenge President Trump's delay of the TikTok ban. So we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. I don't think the two are interrelated, to be honest with you. And these are completely different subjects. Even though it's it's owned by a company in China, I just don't see that these two. It's like mixing water and oil; they don't mix. Okay, and that's my take on that. So that's all the time we're going to spend on that. You guys are welcome to take a look at that article. Again, it's from Drone DJ, and it's out on Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group. Commercial announcement here. Okay, I have another video I'm going to do, the Air 3S. I did, and I'll call it an endurance flight. So enjoy that, because I've gotten, I'll say I'll do this or this, and boy, oh boy, the comments just fly. And it's not from you guys. It's from all these, that's not an altitude test. You only go up to 400 feet, that kind of stuff. So yeah. And I know I don't get that from you guys, because I know you guys, and you are spot on with your comments. So I really appreciate them. So, okay. What do we got next on the plate here? Okay. This was a really good article, and I was really I'm really glad they put out some really good content here. This one I thought was really exceptional. Optical versus digital zoom. What's the difference and what is better? Depending on the drone you purchase, you might have one or more cameras. More likely than not, you purchase a DJI drone, so we'll be using that as an example. But no, this should be useful if you have an Optical drone, Potensic drone, or something from a different brand. What's compression and how does it change a photo? And it talks about what that is. What is a digital crop? It talks about what that is. Most common use for this case in traditional photography is framing the photo to be more artistically pleasing. The downside is you will lose quality, okay? The amount you can punch in will be based on the resolution of the camera you're shooting with. Most drones in 2025 have been upgraded to shoot at least 2.7K, but likely 4K. What is an optical zoom? If you're flying like Air 3S or Mavic 3 Pro, you have noticed multiple cameras on the payload. Each camera is a different focal length. For example, Air 3S a 24 millimeter lens, a 70 millimeter lens. Mavic 3 Pro has the same two focal lengths, but adds a 166 millimeter lens. Okay. Zooming in using a multi-camera drone will change between the three cameras. And DJI's and most drone software using the standard zoom dial will first do a digital crop. Once you reach a similar crop, the next focal length it'll switch to that camera. Between drones like the Mavic 3 Pro, each camera has a different sensor size. So that means your micro 4/3 camera can shoot 5.1K footage, will move to a 1/2 inch camera that peaks at 4K footage if switching to the 166 millimeter lens. Okay. Back to compression. This is really good. So I would definitely bookmark this article. This is some excellent information here, especially if you're looking between the two. When to use either. If you're not flying a drone with multiple cameras, maybe a Mini 4 Pro, for instance, or an Atom SE for Tensic flyers out there, you'll likely be stuck with a single wide angle camera. For you'll be limited to only one option for zooming or digital crop. Okay. Just remember, the digital cropping does not equal compression, as the backdrop will look exactly the same as the uncropped version. I swear Ron Brown probably wrote this article. It's so well done. Ron, kudos to you. No, I'm just kidding. And it says if you have a little bit of a fancier drone, it's a bit complicated, and you have options, okay? First, use your rotors. This is the drone version of the photographer phrase, use your feet. Move the drone closer to the subject so it fills the frame more. Second is similar to the first one, increase your focal length, and then use your rotors, okay? Enterprise use cases here. In conclusion, really hope this helpful explanation of the concept of compression, difference between digital crop and optical zoom. The important story is to take photos you're proud of. Don't feel bad if you end up using digital cropping to take photos you enjoy, because at the end of the day, you're in charge, and no one can tell you how it's supposed to look. And that's a good point here. That's a really good point, because you know, you may get a great one using cropping. You may get a great one using digital. You know, it's all in the eye of the beholder. You know, you take some great photographs. Use what you have available. Okay. Well, you know, my number one guy for taking photographs, he's in the chat tonight, is Jeff Boyd. And Jeff, I know that's your full-time gig right now because you retired from your day job, and congratulations to you, Jeff. That's incredible. Very very happy for you. Now you can go out 8 hours a day and fly your drone. Boy, would I love to do that right now. I'm getting there. So, but yeah, this is an article. I would definitely bookmark this article. You're going to want to keep this. It's some incredibly useful information. You really want to keep that. And you know, you may get asked this question, because I know I've gotten asked this question before on some of my videos, and I wish they would have had this up here. And this is really good, and it's really well done. It's really well written. So kudos to the author of that article out on Drone DJ. They did a good job. So keep that handy. Definitely keep that. Art, welcome. Oren, welcome. Good to see you tonight. Okay. All right. Now move on here. Okay. The case of the, still continue to remember the folks out in Los Angeles and the wildfires out there. It's just horrendous, horrific, and just any bad adjectives you want to use. It's still really bad out there. Oh, you're welcome, Jeff. Yeah, you're very welcome. And guys, if you haven't visited Jeff's page and look at some of his pictures, I'm telling you, you will want to spend lots of money if you go to his site. I guarantee you that. So, and Jeff, if you want to, definitely drop a link for your page. Build a Drone Reviewer Facebook group so people can find it. I know, and it's a shameless plug for Jeff. But guys, you got to look and see some of the pictures he's taken and that he has for sale. I'm telling you, you're going to want one. I have one. I am so stinking proud of that picture. And yeah, it's just wow. It's hard. It's hard because Jeff has so many great ones out there. So yeah, shameless plug for you, Jeff. Always. I will always be happy to do that. Okay. All right. We talked about the firefighters and the plane that had, it looked like it was a mini drone, maybe a Mini 4 Pro, possibly Mini 3 Pro. I'm not real sure. And there was an article, and I don't think it was from Drone DJ, that said there was an actor involved. Well, there was an actor involved, and I think you might have heard of him. His name's Ben Affleck, okay? FBI intensified its investigation of the collision between the mini drone and a super scooper firefighting aircraft. The collision left a significant hole in the left wing. Federal agents in coordination with Los Angeles Police Department have been canvassing neighborhoods in search of surveillance footage that might help identify the drone operator. FBI field agents were also seen visiting the Brentwood residence of actor Ben Affleck, reportedly requesting footage from security cameras that could provide clues about the unauthorized drone. Affleck, who was forced to evacuate due to the Palisades fire, returned home safely, but law enforcement officials are broadening their efforts to determine the source of the drone. According to the FBI's Los Angeles field office, a tip line has been established for residents to report any relevant information about the incident. Okay. And of course, unauthorized drone flights jeopardizing firefighting efforts. Of course, Los Angeles County Deputy Fire Chief reported over last weekend 48 privately owned drones were detected near active wildfire zones. Firefighting aircraft, including Canada-Lee Super Scooper planes, have been forced to take evasive action, delaying critical water drops needed to control the flames. Okay. So the investigation in the mini drone collision continues Both the FAA and FBI have reiterated the legal consequences of interfering with wildfire response efforts. Violating FAA-imposed TFRs in emergency zones can result in federal criminal charges punishable by up to 12 months in prison, in addition to civil penalties of up to $75,000 per incident. Okay. I'm going to go out there and say this. Hey, Ron.
Hello, Bill. How are you tonight?
Welcome. Go Buckeyes.
Yeah, yes.
My Buckeyes.
Yeah, they were very impressive last night. I knew they were 9-point favorite, but watching the Notre Dame Penn State game, I thought Notre Dame would give them a better game, but you got to hand to the Buckeyes. They had a great season. And how about that new playoff system? They were the 8th seed, and they won
the 8th seed.
Yeah.
And they made it. So that's
so. In the old days, even last year when it was 4 teams, they wouldn't even been playing.
Nope, they wouldn't have made it. Now we're going over the article here, and I know don't know if you saw this, but the FBI is requesting surveillance footage from Ben Affleck's home.
I did not see that, Bill.
And they're, they said Ben Affleck question, and it said Ben Affleck question, but they don't talk about them questioning him. They asked evidently for surveillance footage. Now wow. he had left because of the fire, and he's back now. Apparently the fire's past that area where he lives. But they said that the FAA last weekend alone, 48 privately owned drones were detected flying near active wildfire zones. Ron, how stupid can people be?
Yeah, well, we talked about this a little bit, I think, last week on one of the shows that, this was a natural disaster. And during times of high stress, a lot of bad decisions are made.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, bad decisions, like not just flying a drone and no fly, but people not leaving when they're told to evacuate because they could risk lives. People, do stupid things in natural disasters. Of course, if Ben Affleck is guilty of something here, it's going to be a tough case because he's going to be able to afford to hire the best lawyers man could possibly hire. I'm sure those lawyers will make the U.S. government prove without a doubt that Ben Affleck's figures were on the sticks, and that's going to be a hard thing to do.
Exactly.
You and I probably couldn't defend ourselves like that, but Ben Affleck will have, what do you call a brown shoe law firm.
Oh yeah, he'll get the best,
fighting every inch. The U.S. government will have to prove every little thing.
Oh, absolutely. They will actually have to have footage of him flying the drone, and
eyewitnesses willing to testify in court.
Yeah. And that's not going to happen. Okay.
Right. So, like say the way they pressured Mikey, that won't work with Ben Affleck and his legal team.
Oh no, gosh, how much is he worth? I have no clue, but it's,
I mean, hundreds of enough to afford any law firm in the country.
Well, let me put it this way. He didn't get her Jennifer when he settled with Jennifer Garner when they had a divorce. She got like $23 million. And it was a drop in the bucket.
He didn't even hiccup, right? Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't even bat an eyelash. He signed on the dotted line and said, see ya, gone, history. Okay. So,
yeah. Now, I hope if he is guilty that he does get prosecuted as best they can do. But, this will be interesting. Again, I'm not saying he did do it. Didn't do it.
I don't know.
See how things turn out. Maybe it was somebody you knew. Maybe it was somebody in the house, the family.
Could have been one of his kids.
Could be one of his kids, which he'll fight tooth and nail just as hard if it was him then.
Oh yeah. So yeah, well, this will be interesting to see how it pans
I guarantee you, Ben or nobody in his family is going to jail over this.
Oh no. If it was him or a member of his family, nobody will do jail time.
But it could hurt you and I with maybe more restrictive drone laws coming in the future.
Oh yeah. That's exactly what's going to come from this. And I know we talked about it the night I was on Drone Nation with Koopy, and Koopy brought up a lot of good points about this as well too. So this is kind of like stay tuned. Let's see how this pans out. But first of all, the number one thing for me is, I want to see this get taken care of and get the help to people that need the help out there, because they're really hurting right now. They are really hurting out there. Number one. And number two, I want to see stupid people get caught. Okay. And I mean, these stupid 48 people out there with active drones near the wildfire.
Right.
Yeah. So we're going to move on here. All right. Now, this article here, we talked about the geofencing being removed here. Okay. And DJI is saying the geofencing update isn't linked to U.S. drone ban talks. Okay.
I read that. Yeah.
And, I agree with him. I don't think it is. I read a couple other articles on this today, Ron, that what they're saying is DJI is being a little passive aggressive on this. While they're saying it's not linked to the drone ban talks, it's probably what it is it's probably linked to just the pressure that's being put on DJI by the federal government. And they're just telling them, and you know what? And one of the articles pointed something out really good. It said it removes liability from DJI. Okay. Because let's say geofencing didn't work in an area. All right. And you were able to take off and it caused a problem. Well, lawyers could probably hold DJI accountable because of geofencing, this article said. Now, if they don't have geofencing, the onus is on the 107 or Part 107 pilot or remote pilot to make sure that they comply with the law right there. Okay. The onus is instead of on DJI, which is I think it's a good thing. A lot of people aren't thinking, oh, no. I think this is a good thing, number one. And number two, I also think it's good for DJI because it also removed the last barrier that people had when they were looking, say, comparing an Autel to a DJI. An Autel didn't have geofencing and DJI did. I think it removes kind of that last barrier. It's not there anymore. Okay. It's gone. So, it removes a barrier from being able to purchase a DJI drone.
The flip side of the argument is that somebody that doesn't know anything about drones, purchases a DJI drone and tries to take it up, and that person lives right beside the airport, and that drone will keep that person from flying into airspace and causing maybe damage.
Yes, exactly.
So
exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying that's my side of it. I'm saying that is the flip side of what you just said.
And I agree. There's a flip side to that. So we'll kind of.
It's a tough conversation, either way on that. But I heard somebody say, "Hey, this is a good point. You know what? If you like the geofencing, just don't update your firmware database or whatever. The geofencing is still there if you don't update.
You'll be fine. Yeah, it'll be there if you don't update it. You'll still have it. So
if you like it, keep it.
Yeah, mine's long since updated, so I'm fine. I mean, the way I look at it for me is, number one, I very rarely fly in that class airspace. Okay. I mean, it's like super rare, like less than 1% of my time that I fly, I'm in that kind of airspace. Okay. And when I do it, it'll be a piece of cake now because it eliminates a step for me with DJI. And all I got to do is get LAANC approval through the AirAware app and just boom, and I'm done and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, the sticky point for lives is we look at our maps or sectional charts or whatever. We see a location's Class G airspace, so we get the Class G airspace location we want to fly. Our drones won't take off because of geofencing. The geofencing doesn't really match up like it should with the actual airspace, and you can't take off illegal. Because of who knows, maybe there was an airport there 20 years ago, or again, who knows why their geozones are so. At times they're so in friction with the real air zones, like they don't match up. They don't match up even close sometimes. Like I know a couple years ago I was trying to do a real estate job in South Jersey. And the geozone wouldn't let me take off, even though I was at Class G airspace. And it was some kind of small airport nearby, but it was still Class G airspace.
That's
And
weird.
I wasn't trying to fly over 100 feet anyways.
That's weird.
And of course, I was in an area where I didn't have enough internet to unlock the geo zone.
You couldn't go unlock the geo.
So I had to go home, unlock it at home, and come back the next day.
Gosh, see, that's yeah. You don't have to do that now. I mean, that's the nice thing with that. That is
and you know, I know people are going to say, well, you could just plan ahead and unlock the zone the day before or whatever, and that's true at home on your computer, and that is something good for professionals. But amateur buyer, they don't maybe know where they're going to fly from day to day. They're just looking for a good spot. They don't have that level of pre-planning when you're just got running and gunning looking for someplace good to fly.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And you know it's Class G, but you still can't fly.
Yeah.
It's an old argument. It's over now. I mean, it's over now. There's no more geofencing. Bill, let me ask you this key question before I move on. Do you think we're going to see a rash of airspace violations from hobbyist pilots because of these geozones going away, or you think it'll just be a small blip on the radar?
I think it's a small blip, Ron, because I think most people are used to it. Okay, if you've been flying for any amount of point in time, like everybody here in the audience has, for the most part, it'll be a blip on the radar. I don't see that being an issue at all. I really don't. I mean,
a lot of maybe not even Part 1 and 7. I mean, some people that we'll call them hobbyists. A lot of those people know you can't fly within 5 miles of the airport. That's kind of a lot of it's common knowledge now. Can't fly near prison, airport. That's kind of common knowledge, even obvious.
Yeah, and see, most of us know these kinds of things. Okay, it's these ones that have gone out there, and let's say, are flying for a first time kind of a thing, and they're not familiar with stuff. I think that's where people run into problems. And I think, the trust test, what I think needs to be locked on DJI drones, okay, through the controller, through the app, is that you have to pass that trust test. Otherwise, you can't take off. Okay.
Right.
And
you should have to pass a trust test. They give you some kind of code, and then you enter that code into the fly app.
Right. Like a string of characters, and punch it in, and you're good to go. But if you don't pass it, you can't fly. Okay. And I think
that probably more effective in the long run than the geofencing.
Yeah. It's a basic that needs to happen. Well, I saw this other article here, and this was real interesting, and we're going to get into our couple main topics here tonight. Amazon hits pause on drone delivery after crash reports. Okay. Yes. Amazon's drone delivery dreams have once again hit turbulence while the company temporarily is holding its 60-minute drone delivery service in Texas and Arizona following a series of crashes involving its new MK30 drones. The decision comes after 2 drones crashed during tests at Amazon's Pendleton, Oregon site in December, one of which caught on fire on impact. Okay, the MK30, marked as a lighter, quieter drone capable of flying in mild weather conditions, now faces scrutiny over its capabilities. Despite assurances that these mishaps were not the primary reason for suspension, the company has decided to tweak the drone software before resuming operations. Okay, and I'll let you guys, if you want to read it. Ron, this has been going on probably ever since I've started doing shows for 8 years. Okay. I know way back then they were talking about this with Amazon and UPS coming out here. And here we are 8 years later, all these advancements in technology, and we're still, they're still, grinding it out, and it's not making, they're not making headway. And I mean, and look at it. Let's face it. Okay. Amazon's not a small company. And I know Bezos, although he's not CEO or whatever, he's still got his hands in it. You know that. Okay. Mm-hmm. And with all the money that they have, you would have thought that by now that they would have come up with some kind of a foolproof solution that's going to work, but they can't, because there's too many variables here in this equation. All right. Your package size, your weight, where your distribution center is going to be in proximity to where you're going to be delivering to, and just there's a whole host of things that just aren't going to, don't mesh. And I think that's where they're having a lot of problems. Okay. I don't think the technology so much is the problem. I think it's fitting it in to a, delivery at homes to where is it gonna drop down from a from a little string or a little mini rope, or how all that's going to do,
Right. And if you don't have a nice backyard or whatever, or front yard, if you live in an apartment, how are you going to get a drone delivery?
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. If you live in a real tight, compact area, yeah. How's that going to happen? It's I think it's still fraught with a lot.
Yeah,
out
I
there.
mean, do you think anybody actually makes a profit from drone deliveries at this point? It's just a proof of concept right now.
No.
They're not making money off of this.
I know Walmart's had issue. I think there was an article a couple of weeks ago in Drone DJ about Walmart, and they pulled some of their stuff too because they were having issues. So, this is just, people were using the argument that DJI was being forced out. One of the reasons was they wanted to force us, the hobbyists, out
delivery drones, yeah,
so they could have delivery. And the delivery, Ron, it may not be in our lifetime, okay, that this happens. I mean, it's just
right.
that's the speed that it's going right now. So
yeah,
that's where we're at.
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to do now was because there's been so much, everybody has had a opportunity to I'm trying to find, where's my article at? Okay. Okay, I got an article here. I want to get it up. All right. We had looked at, gotta get the right one up here. Okay. DJI Neo or DJI Flip. What I thought I would like to do is to take a look and compare these two. So what I did was I got on Microsoft Copilot, okay, their AI, and I had to do a comparison. Now let's go ahead and take a look and see what it did here. And let's see.
This part of the show brought to us by AI, huh?
That's right. This is brought by Microsoft Copilot AI here, okay? Now it says it looks like both the DJI Neo and DJI Flip are aimed at beginner drone pilots. Let's break down some key differences here. DJI Neo, the Neo is significantly cheaper, starting at about 100. I don't know where they're getting 199. Okay, it was launched in September 2024.
No, that if just the drone only is 199.
Yeah,
yeah.
The Flip is a more expensive option, starting. Excuse me. $439. It was launched in January 2025.
Of course, Bill, I'm going to slow you down. That's apples versus orange, though, because that 199 is for drone only, and
that's a drone only. That's no
controller.
Yep.
Apples and oranges there.
Design and portability. The Neo is compact and lightweight, weighing in at just 135 grams, and doesn't have foldable propellers, but it's small enough not to need folding. The Flip is larger and heavier, 249 grams. But it's designed with folding propellers, which enhances its portability.
But when you pack it up to put it in a bag or something, it's not much smaller than the Neo or not much smaller than the Mini 4 Pro.
Mm-hmm. Exactly here. And here's a big thing, the camera and flight performance. The Neo is equipped with a 12-megapixel camera capable of shooting 4K videos at 30 frames per second. It shines in modes like a first-person view, which is not available in the Flip. The DJI Flip offers a robust 48-megapixel camera with several advanced flight modes capable of recording 4K videos at 60 frames per second. Special features.
Yeah, there's no doubt the Flip has a much better camera.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. DJI Neo, it's great for selfies and can be flown without a controller. DJI Flip, it's packed with new modes and includes features from the Mini 4K series, making it excellent for content creators. Battery life, Neo flight time is relatively shorter, around 18 minutes. The Flip, it offers a longer flight time of around 31 minutes. Conclusion, for budget-conscious beginners, the DJI Neo is definitely a more affordable option without too much compromise. For content creators, the DJI Flip, while pricier, offers superior camera quality and extended flight capabilities. Number one, kudos to Microsoft Copilot. I think they did a good job here.
Well, except they missed the fact that the Neo is also capable of flying FPV, connecting the goggles or whatever. And so far, and I say so far, the Flip doesn't have any of the features, and DJI doesn't have it written down any place that it ever will have. That's not saying it won't, but right now the Neo is a more versatile drone with those FPV features.
Yes, and I agree. So and what was real interesting, Ron, I did this with ChatGPT, and it's real interesting how that came up. What it did was I looked at it and read it, and I said I couldn't believe it. And I was telling Valerie, I said, "Do you know what? What happened was the Neo. What it said about the Neo was really the Flip, and what it said about the Flip was really." I'm like, okay, wow, okay, yeah. It just kind of blew me away here. But I wanted to get this out here, and I didn't purchase the Flip. I did have the Neo briefly, and I sold it because I'm looking for the next great thing coming down the pike here. Which we all know what that is. But I think in terms of if you're looking at it from a content creator, and one of the things that AI I think did really well, if you're looking at it from the point of being a content creator between these two drones, you want to get the Flip. If you're looking at it just for like selfies and having a lot of fun and maybe flying it indoors and just having some fun with it, the Neo is going to be for you, and it's a less pricier option as well too. Understand with the Neo, that's not going to be terribly good in anything probably over 10 miles an hour outside. So don't even think about it. If like we had a day like today, it was horribly windy, that's not going to work, and probably the Flip's not going to work either. But conversely speaking, with the Flip, you can get some really good quality video and pictures with that. So pick your poison here. Which one do you want? And the nice thing about this is the price point on both of these. Okay, the Neo coming in at $199, starting out there, and the Flip at $439. Now, I'm going to throw a little caveat in here, and I think you probably know where I'm going to come from. The Spectre Mini is now on sale on Amazon. It's been out there, $219. Okay,
wow.
Yeah,
wow.
$219
with a controller.
With the controller. And here's the real kicker. And I'm gonna kind of slide back here. Now,
with a rolling chair.
The number one thing that I've heard is I can't get extra batteries. Okay.
Yes. Oh, look at all those extra batteries.
3 extra batteries. Okay. And I'll give you all a clue on as to how to do this. All right. It won't let you order more than 1 battery at a time. So guess what you do? You order 1 battery at a time. That's what I did in a row. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And it took it. They came next day. They're here. They got the right UPC symbol on them. And then what's interesting, I got
if you're a Prime member, you're not paying for shipping anyways.
Absolutely. And I got a YX charger back there. We're going to do a video on that to charge these up. And I just did a YX charger on the Air 3, Air 3S Spectre Air batteries, and it's great. This one doesn't have a digital readout. That had a digital readout, Ron, and it tells you everything: percentage charged, the voltage on it, the amperage on it. It's wow. It's fantastic. This one doesn't have that. It does have a green light or a red light when it's charging and a green light when it's charged. So we're going to, so this is one of the things that's coming up. I'm going to be doing a video on this as well. But Ron, I am so impressed with this drone. Okay. It does a fantastic job. The video off it I think is great.
Bill, just to clarify, this is basically the Mini 4K with another name, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And, some people have said that they have noticed a difference being with the ambient temperature outside when they've flown with the Mini, the Spectre Mini versus like the Mini 4K. And they're saying that the video is better on the Mini 4K. And I'm like, well, you know what? I've looked at both. And you know what? It's equal. There's no real difference between the two. None.
Hey, Bill, look out in the chat. Richard's saying he's returning his Flip for a refund. And Bill Grace, about 5 comments below, said he did the same thing. He returned his Flip for a refund.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And Bill, your comment earlier about the Flip and the Neo, unless you're looking for a a selfie drone and a follow me drone, or I don't know, you're a beginner and you want a cheap price or whatever. Well, you forget that. Unless you need follow and selfie drone, get the get the what's your drone called again?
Spectrum Mini.
Get Spectrum Mini. Save the money. It's gonna be a much better drone in every way except for selfie and tracking.
Exactly.
Otherwise, flying, everything else is probably going to be better. So I mean, people get hooked in because of the low price of these, these follow drones and selfie drones. But again, they're not as capable as a true camera drone in most cases.
Exactly.
Even I know it's cheaper. Somebody's going to say it's cheaper, but even the flips nowhere is as capable as the Mini 4 Pro, even though it has the same camera.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're going out there and you're spending this kind of money, I want to be able to present this option to everybody. I wanted to do that comparison, and then I also want to tell you about the Spectrum Mini. $219, guys. Okay, and it comes with a controller. All right, and now the number one question that's always been asked is, I can't buy extra batteries. You can buy extra batteries now. They're out there. They're available. Okay, props are coming soon, I've been told. But if you want props, they're the same thing as the Mini 4K props. Okay. Versus this, though, you have to get the battery because the software is different inside the battery.
Okay? Right.
Versus the Mini 4K. But you can get DJI Mini 4K props all day long for it. So you're all set with this, okay? And the same thing. Now, I'm also hearing, Ron, rumors, okay, that Spectre is going to be coming out with an Air S to match the Air 3S, okay? So kind of stay tuned for that. I've heard that that's in the works here, and we'll probably be getting some information on that shortly. I went out. I didn't have a chance to shoot the videos. I didn't have time to get my stuff together, but I did get the Spectre Air up for its first flight. It was flawless, Ron. It was just absolutely flawless, just like an Air 3. It just no questions asked with that, none whatsoever.
Now the Spectre did lose one advantage. It used to be that didn't have geofencing was an advantage. So that's sort of leveled out now with DJI removing their geozones.
That was funny because my contact with Spectre said, when you do another video for the Mini and the Air, can you feature the no geozones? And I said, sure. But by the time I got stuff together and everything and got to the point of being able to do it, here comes DJI out with their announcement and makes it a moot point right now. So
yeah, I made some kind of comment someplace. We'll tell ever sell another drone now that DJI doesn't have geofencing.
Okay.
I didn't talk about this yet, but I did a poll over in Drone Nation about who's going to buy the Flip, right? And I think the Flip was the most unpopular drone ever. I think of like 100, like I looked at it, had 120 people, voted on. Like only 12% said they were going to get the Flip, and like something like 80 some percent, no 70 some percent said they weren't going to get it, and the 12% said something like, well, they already had the Neo, so they didn't need. So like 85% of people had no interest in the Flip in this poll.
Yeah, I could see why. 100%. Okay. And for me, people ask me a couple of questions. I got one of the big ones was, why'd you sell your Neo? And I said, well, I'm saving. I'm putting money in the piggy bank for the Mavic 4 Pro. Okay. And same people ask me, why didn't you get a Flip? I said, same reason. Okay. These are drones. I want to be able to be knowledgeable about them, to talk about them on the show, talk about them with you guys, and answer questions for people. But for me, it's not in my purview, even to do videos on them, okay? Because I think it's going to have a short shelf life. I really don't think, I know you've seen your reviewer videos out there from your big guys, and good for them, and they put their fluff with it, which is fine. That's their prerogative to do that. But they're doing that for reasons, okay? They want to still be able to get product from the manufacturer to be able to talk about it, which is fine. That's their prerogative. Right. But for me, for you, and I know for you, it's not my field of vision. It's not going to enhance for me, I think the people that watch this channel, all you guys out there in the chat, okay, it's not going to benefit you guys. All right. What's going to benefit you guys are drones like an Air 3 and Air 3S. And then coming up, the Mavic 4 Pro.
A drone flyer's drone, huh?
Yes. A drone flyer's drone.
Hey,
Absolutely.
On the bigger picture, do you think this is a kind of an overreaction from DJI on these drones like the Flip and the Neo to the hover drones? Is this is trying not to let hover get a foot in the door there with these?
Yeah, I think
drones?
that's why and I think that's a good point, Ron. I think that's why DJI did this, was to keep in step with hover. But the way I look at it from what I've seen, number one, hover's way more expensive. Okay. And I know, and I'm going on what Marcus has talked about as well.
Well, if you buy that high-end 8K model, yes.
Yeah, buy that high-end 8K model.
They have a more affordable model too.
Yeah, it gets kind of pricey. Even the more affordable one, I still think, but it's
more money than Neo. Yeah, they definitely cut the legs out of hover with the Neo.
It's a real, I'm going to say it's a real specific use type of drone, and people need to understand, that doesn't have a controller. Okay. With these hovers. Okay. You're pretty much, it's a selfie drone. It's going to do what it's going to do.
Selfie and foul.
Exactly. Okay. Exactly. So this is where we're at. So we're going to get
Lon talk about the Flip wasn't for us. Lon, I said it first. I said the Flip is a drone no one really needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody really needs it.
And the Neo, I said to you, the drone no one really needs.
Yeah. No one really needs it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think
Eddie's correct. The hover does have a remote. If you buy the most expensive hover kit, which is way more than $800, you can get like a little remote with it.
Okay.
You kind of piece it together. It's kind of it looks pretty cool.
Well, we have some more information about the Mavic 4 Pro, okay? And I wanted to go ahead and go over this tonight because, I was looking out there and lo and behold, there was information out there about this. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at an article from Drone DJ, or Drone XL, excuse me, from High Kesteloo, all right? And DJI Mavic 4 Pro test photos and clip revealed triple camera design, enhanced cooling system, okay? And you can see there's some images here, and these were posted. Jasper Ellens posted this as well, and it looked like, I think what they said, there was another camera here. There's the Mavic 4 Pro right here, and it looks like there's a smartphone over here. Design evolution and thermal management, and what they were talking about with the thermal management, they said the setup likely incorporates a previously rumored 24 millimeter, 70 millimeter, potentially 50. And 166 equivalent focal lengths, okay, which sounds a lot like the Mavic 3 Pro right now. The significant addition is designed prominent heat sink positioned at the rear of the aircraft, suggesting DJI has prioritized thermal management for what is expected to be a more powerful imaging system. The focus on cooling aligns with the drone's rumored capability to process high-resolution 100-megapixel photos and advanced video formats, okay? Because I know I'm real familiar with heat sinks, Ron, because on a lot of ham radios, okay, they generate a lot of heat. Some of the options on there that you do, there's an option called FP8. For those of you guys that know what I'm talking about, it's really kind of digital, but it really takes up a lot of power, and it also generates a lot of heat. And those radios have heat sinks on them to help dissipate the heat here, okay? And this is interesting seeing this.
Of course, those radios aren't flying through the air at 40, 50 miles per hour either.
Exactly, okay? Versus this, but I think it's real interesting that they put a heat sink on it, even though, that drone is almost always constantly in motion.
You think this drone could overheat a little bit because of all those advanced camera specs?
I think that's exactly right here. Streamlined aerodynamics and safety features. The test unit revealed more streamlined arms compared to the Mavic 3 Pro while maintaining the familiar folding mechanism characteristic of the Mavic series. 2 fisheye optical avoidance sensors are visible, along with an LED beacon mounted on top of the aircraft, indicating DJI's continued emphasis on safety and regulatory compliances. Interestingly, the test unit appears to lack the LiDAR sensing system found on the Air 3S's front section, okay? Professional testing equipment, market implications. These latest revelations about the Mavic Pro suggest DJI is pushing to further differentiate its professional consumer drone lineup. The enhanced cooling system and triple camera array point to a device capable of more demanding imaging tasks, while the streamlined design maintains the portability that has made the Mavic series popular among professionals. The leaked images show the drone's camera system being evaluated alongside an Air 3S, a Xiaomi smartphone, which appears to be a full-frame mirrorless camera. Professional testing system set up with precision alignment tools and light controlling hood indicates DJI is in the late stages of image quality optimization here. Industry context: the timing of these photos aligns with previous reports suggesting an April 2020 release date for the Mavic 4 Pro. The sophisticated nature, the testing setup, and the presence of comparison cameras indicates DJI is conducting detailed image quality evaluations, a crucial step for finalizing the product for market release. These developments come as the consumer drone market continues to mature, with professionals demanding increasingly sophisticated imaging capabilities in portable platforms. The Mavic 4 Pro's apparent focus on enhanced thermal management and advanced camera capabilities suggests DJI is responding directly to these requirements while maintaining the practical considerations that have made the Mavic series more successful. Okay, now on some of these here, and what we're going to do is I do want to show a couple of other things here. Now, we did see the images that both Jasper and Igor have posted, but this right here, you get to see it's a real short video right here.
Yeah.
And you people
the
probably
the propellers pop out.
Yeah, it's an animated type
of course,
of video.
I know this probably doesn't mean as much to me, probably not you either, but people say that the drone's ugly or whatever. I mean, once I fly whatever 30 feet away from me, I'm not looking at it anyways, but you know.
Yeah, and you know what, Ron, and you know what I say to that, and I've always said to that, okay, that drone sitting on a desk, it's a tool, okay. A screwdriver isn't useful until you put it in your hands and use it, okay. And a drill.
Exactly. I'm buying a hammer here, not a sports car.
Yeah, you know what? I don't really care how it looks. If I get great video and pictures from it, and it does some amazing things with that, that's what I get that for.
Remember the Millennium Falcon in Star Wars? It was ugly, but it could make the Kessel run in 5 parsecs or whatever.
That's right. That's right. It did its job here. Okay.
Hey, our buddy Jeff Voice in the chat tonight, and Jeff says, I'm buying a Mavic 4 Pro when it's available, even if DJI drones are grounded in the future.
Yeah, I don't really think that's going to happen. Just now, I'm going to go ahead and I want to share these couple of images here as well too. And this is from Jasper. Okay, and these are exactly what we had seen before.
Yes.
Close-ups with that.
These guys are all getting their pictures.
You can take a look. There's the Air 3S up here. There's the Mavic 4 Pro right here. There's a SLR over here. And then there's it looks like the Xiaomi smartphone over here. So it's an interesting testing setup that they have with this, Ron.
Right.
You know, and it's under
and even keep it in disguise there.
Yeah, exactly. There's a close-up of the back of it.
Well, I know this is pure speculation, Bill, but do you think the camera system on the Mavic 4 will be a giant leap forward from the Mavic 3?
I don't think it's going to be a giant leap forward. I think it's going to be a significant leap, though. And I think the big thing with this, I think that we're going to see, there's going to be no LiDAR on it, from what I'm hearing. But we don't know if these are finished product leaks images. Again, this is too early.
I wouldn't count that out just quite yet.
I wouldn't either. But from an article I saw, it talked about that they may have taken this off. And I read this article somewhere, and it wasn't Drone DJ or Drone XL, but they said they may have taken the LiDAR off in favor of a better processing capabilities to get 100 megapixel.
That'll separate the Air 3S and kind of be its own, like its own, it'll be a reason to have that instead. Or
exactly that the Air 3S will have its own niche.
If anybody's ever flying the Air 3S, there's nothing like the Air 3S flying around on its own.
Exactly.
Coming back.
Exactly. So all in all, now I know Bill Thomas posted something down there in the chat. Something about a very early release date, according to what to what we had seen before. And I have no clue on that, but I can tell you this: it's going to be sooner than April. My
Do you think they can? Do you think they can beat that rumored 100% tax on Chinese drones, at a tariff that's supposedly coming?
Yeah, I think that's what they're aiming for. Okay, because I think they've advanced this testing up. The pictures that we just saw on Drone XL and out with Igor and Jasper. Okay, I think we probably weren't. DJI probably wasn't ready to do this for probably maybe a few more weeks. So I think everything's on an accelerated basis with them, and they're getting this testing done. And I think we'll be seeing the Mavic 4 Pro sooner rather than later.
I won't throw in there, Bill, after the Mavic, the Mavic 3 release, which wasn't the best release. I want to see this thing come out fully baked.
Yeah, I don't want to have, like with the Mavic 3, the GPS issue.
Yeah.
When it came
I don't want to not get
whoa.
satellites for the first 6 months.
Wow. I mean, that was hotter than a lit firecracker. Okay. That was wow.
Hey, Lon's slowing our roll down here. He's saying Mavic 4 won't be out until almost summer.
Okay. That'll be interesting.
And a couple comments back, he said it will have LiDAR.
Okay. Very interesting. That will be very interesting. I hope it does. I hope Lon's right.
Eddie made a comment here. You said call it the Mavic 4 Pro too. Will DJI do it right this time, Bill? Will the Mavic 4 Pro be the first Mavic 4 released, and not the crazy system before where just like the Mavic 3 got released, and we had to wait a year or two to get the Pro? I like it when the Pro is out first and then the lesser drones come out later. But
I agree with you 100%, Ron. Let's start out, and that's what they did originally. Okay. With the original Mavic Pro, when it came out as a Mavic Pro. It didn't come out as a Mavic or a Mavic Classic. Came out as a Mavic Pro, and then they kind of did some other iterations of it, which I think is the way to go. You start out with your best, and then it's easy to work your iterations down from there. All right. That's kind of what I see right here. And one of the other things,
like I understood when DJI put out the Mavic 3 Classic, the dumbed down version came out about a year later. I understood that for people that were on a budget.
Exactly. Okay. And that one of the things that I wanted to say before we finish up here is I think we're going to get a new RC Pro type controller, maybe an RC Pro 2 or something with this. Okay. So stay tuned for that, because I think it's due for an upgrade. And I think, and this is just me speculating here, because I know on the M4 that just came out, that DJI released, if you really kind of look at the M4, the Matrice 4, series, it really looks like a Mavic. I mean, if you really honestly take a look at it, I think we're going to see the new RC Pro type controller, like an RC Pro 2, if you want to call it. I think it's going to be a lot like what they're using on the M4 series. Okay. It's a real nice controller. Billy had it in his video.
Kind of a dumbed down version of that for the Mavic 4. Hey, and I know I think it was Igor or Jasper, one of those tweeted out yesterday that RC track device that we saw as well back before the Air 3S came out, that'll come out alongside the Mavic 4. That we call it like a beacon, where you get precise tracking because it's that beacon. In other words, you could have that thing in your pocket and not even have the controller in your hands.
There you go. That'll be fantastic.
And that's what these selfie drones are all about. They can track you without having something in your hands, because the Air 3S and the Mini 4 Pro, they do great tracking, but you have to have the controller in your hand, so it doesn't look like it doesn't look natural. The vloggers don't want to be walking around with a controller in hand. They want to look like they're walking around naturally in the scene. And that's what the selfie drones free you up, rather than you're the drone geek with a big controller in your hand walking around.
Yeah. So we'll see what comes up with that. So the other thing that I want to say before we wrap things up here is get out, make sure you got a lot of penny, nickels, and dimes in your piggy bank, because you're probably going to see this pushing north, I would say, of 3K. This is just me. If you're getting like a Flymore kit with a, with a controller with the screen, okay, and if you're getting the new RC2 Pro or whatever it's going to be called.
Whatever,
All right.
yeah.
I think it may be hitting. You may hit like 3,500 plus.
Didn't we see rumors maybe about a month ago that the basic kit would only be in the low 2,000 if you just got base everything, one battery drone and basic controller was like 2,200?
Yeah, that would probably be right. But by the time you would add 2 more batteries, have a the controller with a screen in it and everything and a case, you're probably going to hit 2,900. And then by the time, if you want to get an RC Pro 2, if they come out with something like that, you're going to be easily 3,500 for something.
Of course, if it has like that 50-minute flight time or whatever, you may be able to get by on one battery for a while. And I hope they make it compatible with like the DJI RC-2 controller, with the screen. So
yeah,
they're happy with that controller. But I know the whole thing. We're in OcuSync 4 now, so this thing will probably be OcuSync 4.5 or whatever, what they call it 4 plus. So it'll probably be on a different radio signal, so we'll have to have a new controller. I hope not, but I fear that.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. I think they're going to go to a new OcuSync on that, so it's not going to be compatible with that. The one other thing I'm really hoping for on the controller, and the really kind of like my one gripe with the Mavic 3 Pro, the controller on there, all right, in order to do screen recordings, you have to have an SD card in there, all right? It doesn't have enough memory internally to do screen recordings, so you have to put that in there. So, because I remember the very first time I took it up for a flight, I'm out there, I'm getting ready, and I got my thumbs, and I'm putting it down and hit screen recording. It said insert SD card, and I'm like, So I had to stop everything, go back home, get an SD card, and come back up. But
we can't win. We're finally starting to get more internal memory to drones, but now we got to get more internal memory in the controllers.
And the controllers, yeah.
And of course, they backslid on the Flip. The Neo had like 24 gig, internal memory, and the Flip went back to 2 gig or something, enough to take a few pictures on or something.
Yeah.
So they backslid on the Flip.
Yeah. So
the Flip has the memory card in it though, but when you're flying that little drone like the Neo, you kind of the Neo. Since it doesn't take that great a video, you don't need internal memory is enough on that because you're not really doing a bunch of, you're not taking millions of footage on that drone because it's not that good anyways.
Yeah. So I think I am so good with where I'm at in terms of the Neo and the Flip, and and for my money, if you guys are looking to get something right now, get that Spectrum Mini. Okay. For $219, you can't beat the price. It comes with the controller. It's, batteries are available for it now. The app, it works flawlessly on there. I've had 0 issues with it, and it shoots great video.
And as I said before the show, unless you intend to do a whole bunch of selfie type videos and tracking videos or whatever, the Neo and the Flip may not be for you.
Exactly. Unless you're, an Instagram type person, forget it. Or doing YouTube shorts. No, right. Just go for something like a Spectrum.
And the Flip, even though it's a tracking drone, it can only track people walking. It won't track cars and boats and stuff like the Mini 4 Pro will. So most people want that faster tracking. They don't want just the walking tracking. But again, maybe the vloggers, that's good enough for them.
Yeah, if you're hiking, that's probably okay for them. But if you want to track a car, if you want to track something else, a boat, whatever, it's not gonna fly.
Made for Pro time.
Yep, exactly. So any closing thoughts tonight, Ron?
Bill, before we leave, can you give me your playoff predictions for this weekend? We have 2 games coming up. We have the Washington Commanders at the Eagles, and we also have the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. Do you have any thoughts on those games?
Well, I'll talk about the Bills at Chiefs first, okay? I put a meme out there, and I think you probably saw it. Buffalo's already been called for pass interference, and game hasn't even started yet. I mean, it's
roughing the quarterback. They've already been called for roughing Mahomes.
They got to get that under control, Ron. I will never forget. It was that one game this year, Kansas City. We were out at a sports bar. My wife and I were having our Friday night dinner, or Thursday night. I forget when the game was. Yeah, it was Thursday night. It was Thursday night football. And we were watching it, and I could not believe what I saw. Okay. And then what's his name? Herb Street is saying the same thing. He said, did I just really see that? You know, that kind of thing. I'll say this, okay? It's an evenly matched game. It's going to be a lot closer than I think people think. I'm going to predict Buffalo's going to win by 3 points.
Wow. Yeah,
right.
Back to what you were saying, that was real egregious this weekend. It was one play where they show this all the time where it was Mahomes. There was actually a fumble. So Mahomes picks the ball up after the fumble. At that point, he's not even a quarterback anymore. He's a runner because the play's been fumbled, right? So he runs, past the line of scrimmage. 2 Houston players come over. They to try not to hit Mahomes, they hit each other in a helmet. So Mahomes doesn't get hit at all to play. He just falls in a pile. The body's falling down or whatever. The Houston players hit each other. They throw the the roughing the quarterback thing. Aikman made a noise like I've never heard before. Aikman was in disbelief. He again. The replay showed clearly that the Houston players hit each other. They didn't hit Mahomes.
Oh, yeah.
And did you see the stat where Houston's the first team to ever lose a playoff game where they outgained the team by 100 yards and did turn the ball over?
Exactly.
But we go on. I don't want to get the Kansas City people mad. What's your Eagles-Washington prediction?
I'm going to say 3 points, and the Eagles are going to win, but I'll say this, all right? The Rams almost pulled that game off against the Eagles.
They were one play away from winning that game, Bill.
Exactly. The Eagles need to be careful with their defense. I have no problem with the Eagles' offense. I think it's a finely tuned machine. Okay,
yeah, it's easy. Just hand off to Barkley 25.
Just hand off to Barkley. Okay, you're done. Okay, Jalen Hurts has an easy game plan. Okay, Barkley was taken to the house. There's no problem there. The problem is with the defense. Okay, and I think they let up. They kind of backed off a little bit, and boy, oh boy, Stafford had I thought he had a good game. I thought he played.
Well, remember, he of all the quarterbacks left, he's the grizzled veteran. He knows things the young guys never even thought about.
He's been around the block a couple of times, and he knows
what's going on out there. And in the AFC, the 1 and 2 seeds made it, right? So the seeding worked well. In the NFC, it's kind of tricky. The Eagles were the 2 seed. Of course, Detroit got upset by Washington. Washington the 6th seed, but that's deceiving. Washington had a record. They won 12 games. They're only the 6th seed because Tampa Bay and the Rams were like 10-win division champs or whatever. They only were seeded Washington because they were division champs. But Washington actually had Detroit Eagles. They had the 4th best record in the NFC. So it's really the 2nd and 4th best team going against each other.
You want to hear this? Listen to this. They said if the Super Bowl is the Eagles versus the Bills, okay, and the quarterbacks get hurt, guess who it will be? It'll be Kenny Pickett versus Mitch Trubisky. Okay,
who do you pick in that one?
I was laughing my head off when I saw that, Ron. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, Mike Tomlin's dream. Okay.
Well, and if Mahomes gets hurt, it's Carson Wentz from the Eagles playing.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Mahomes and that would be against what's his name? The former Eagle quarterbacks, the Redskins back up. The guy went to Oregon.
Yeah.
First round pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be 2 ex-Eagle quarterbacks if it was the other way around.
Yep. Yeah. So that's where we're at on that. I'm saying Eagles by 3 and Bills by 3.
You got the Eagles and Bills in the Super Bowl.
Eagles and Bills in the Super Bowl, and I think it'll be a really good Super Bowl. Really good Super Bowl. So that's where I'm at. So all right,
Bill. Great show
tonight. Great participation in the chat tonight. Guys, remember, it's always a great day to fly. Take care. Everybody stay warm and stay safe in all this crazy weather right now.
Good night.